Hello and welcome into Lions Postgame Live presented by Sling TV. I'm Tori Petry alongside Herman Moore. The Lions have just dropped a heartbreaker on Thanksgiving to the Chicago Bears. They lost 24-20 here at Ford Field. Herman, what broke down late in that game?
Well, I think there was just a series of big plays that were given up in the secondary that allowed Chicago to be able to go down and ultimately score the go-ahead touchdown. Those are big deals. I mean, right now I thought this was a very competitive team. Chicago came in, they had some problems offensively. The Lions knew they had some offensive woes, missing their quarterback and then having to go with another quarterback that none of the team was really familiar with, but I felt they were competitive. But ultimately, when you're looking at a game like this, as close as it was, it's those small things, Tori, that's going to make a difference in winning and losing.
I think the big thing for the Lions this year has been being unable to finish in the fourth quarter. They have held a lead in each of their games this year, but still have just 3 wins. We saw that again today, and the Lions just couldn't get it done when it came down to it.
When you peel back it a little bit, the running game I thought was going to be what the Lions would go to. I felt that they were going to be a little skeptical about going with the passing attack. They got off to a really good start, came out, created some turnovers. The running game was, in fact, impactful. It was very good. They still did a really good job today. Scarborough had over 80 yards rushing, so he's following up on some of his past performances. But as you mentioned, you got to be able to put teams away. If you can't close it out, that's what's been the nemesis for this team. And right now, I mean, the season's pretty much it's pretty much of a downer. But Thanksgiving is a big day that the team looks for. The fans look for coming here. And for this team, they're going to be highly disappointed because this was another loss that got away.
Well, this loss certainly overshadows what was a good performance by rookie quarterback David Blau, stepping into this game for his first NFL action. It felt a lot like Jeff Driscoll's debut in Chicago a few weeks ago, a solid performance overshadowed by the loss. He had the game in his hands there at the very end, but just wasn't able to get it done. You think maybe Matthew Stafford in that position is able to?
I think Matthew definitely would be able to do that. He's no stranger to fourth quarter pressure. And if you look at his percentage of having those fourth quarter comeback, that's what he thrives on. And when you look at Blau, I mean, this was an opportunity, again, for this team that gets missed. And you don't want to go back and say, oh, well, they played with a rookie guy. They played with a quarterback that hadn't really had a lot of time under the center. But surprisingly, he came out and he played really well. And, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can take from that. I don't know if you could have asked more out of this young quarterback. So you look at those small plays, you look at those big plays again that ultimately led to this team losing this football game.
Well, I mean, that's the point, is that the defense ends up putting it on the rookie quarterback's shoulders to finish it there at the end of the game, and that is a lot to ask for a guy. The defense gave up that touchdown drive and then had to put it in Blau's hands to go down and score. Of course, he ends up throwing that interception, making this just a heartbreaker for Lions fans. But like you said, a really great performance by David Blau. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of him performing magic tricks online, but it is quite impressive. So Twitter was abuzz calling him the Magic Man today, the magician, with that opening touchdown drive. What a performance. It was 3 plays, 36 seconds, and 75 yards just because of one 75-yard touchdown pass to Kenny Golladay. We cannot talk about this game without giving David Blau his due credit. He was 22 for 38 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and of course that one interception.
It was. That was a really big play. I think that was a confidence booster. If you look at how Chicago came out, they drove right down the field, they scored early in the game, and then all of a sudden have the Lions say, you know what, we got to answer the bell. Kenny Golladay with really another big performance today, over 150 yards receiving on just 4 catches, 39 yards a catch. I mean, that's just a whopping total for him. Marvin Jones. I want to call this guy Marvin Harrison. Marvin Jones, you know, again, contributing to that. This has been a very good tandem, but Kenny Golladay, I think, sparked him. I think it gave this offense some life. It gave him confidence. Chicago's defense is not a slouch defense. This is a very good defense, and to have a rookie quarterback coming in and not come unnerved facing that kind of pressure and that kind of challenge. Again, I don't know if you could have asked, if you're Coach Patricia, any more from your rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this game and Kenny Galladay's statistics, like you said, over 150 yards. Those were just 4 catches for 158 yards. Obviously, David Blau and Kenny Golladay had quite the connection going on today. We saw a lot of really good things from him. We saw good stuff from Bo Scarborough, another good day in the running game from him. You like to see that young guy coming on this year.
It's been fun. I mean, it's been special when you're a young player and you can have that kind of success, not in just one game, not in just 2 games, but now in your 3rd opportunity, and you're showing that, you know what, I can play at this level, I can produce, I can come in and give you what you need. That builds confidence for this coaching staff to know that, okay, we have a young group of talent that can also contribute to our team's need. But what I look at right now is, Tori's, what type of leadership is going to be there on the field. Offensively, you look at it, typically it doesn't come from the receiver unit. I hate to say that. We're playmakers. We try and go out and make some things happen. It comes from the quarterback position. It comes sometimes from your offensive lineman. So we got to see who's going to step up and finish this season out for this Detroit Lion football team.
Well, let's take a look at some of what that quarterback was able to do today. Here are a few of the highlights from David Blau's performance against the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving.
On 3rd down and 10, good protection here. That's Galladay. What a start for Blau. Touchdown, Detroit. There are no flags. Blau throws, has a man. That's Galladay again. Pass is caught. Touchdown. 7-point game. This is a live ball. Trubisky keeps, throws, passes, picked by Slay. Darius Slay steps in front of Robinson. 3rd down and 7. Trubisky is sacked. Play made by Trey Flowers. The Lions will fall to 3-8-1, and that means 11 of their 12 games have been decided by 8 points or less this season. And they'll go 3-7-1.
Want to stay home and sing, but you don't have a good excuse?
Gonna come by?
I would, but I've got laryngitis. I mean laryngitis. My cat might die. I would, but I totally don't want to.
Get the #1 live TV streaming service for less at Sling.com.
Welcome back to Lions Postgame Live, presented by Sling TV. I'm Tori Petry, joined by Lions legend Herman Moore. We already talked about some of the positive things the Lions were able to do here on Thanksgiving with their rookie quarterback David Blau making his NFL debut in light of Matthew Stafford and Jeff Driscoll's injuries. Now let's take a look at some of the plays the Lions left out there. They actually made some really big plays in this game. The onside kick recovery that really no one saw coming. That was a bit of a surprise. And the Lions punted the ball away after that.
It's when you have opportunities like that, especially you're catching a team sleeping. Chicago wasn't expecting it. And to come away with just such a big change, and that's right after another big play that already occurred for the Lions, a scoring opportunity. So this was, chances that we talk about as a team is trying to move forward. They're trying to get their season to go and get kicked into a certain gear. Those are big plays that you have to capitalize on. This is a team that I don't think they're ever going to be short of that. But it's about what we talked about earlier, Tori. It's finishing. It's how do you complete games and not just have segments there where you shine, but you're able to complete it.
Yeah, the secondary struggled a bit today, allowing Mitchell Trubisky to pass for over 300 yards. But we did see a big play from Darius Slay. He was able to come down with an interception, bobbling it a bit, and then returning it. But again, the Lions got the ball back and then punted it away. And that has been part of the issue today, has been not being able to capitalize on those big plays that the Lions, defense or special teams was able to come up for them.
It's all about momentum. It's all about being able to sustain drives. And also, when an opponent turns over the football, you have to turn those into points. It's not just about capitalizing. Even if you push your opponent back down the field, that's great, that's fine, that's dandy. But when you're an offensive unit that has the firepower that the Lions have, you expect that to turn into a real bad position for the opponent's defense. So the Lions not capitalizing on that. You look at when you lose a game by 4 points, and you start to look back at maybe we need only a field goal at the end, because if we convert just one of those turnovers into a field goal, then it makes a big difference.
It certainly does. The Lions had some struggles, like we mentioned in the secondary. Mitchell Trubisky looked like a pretty good passer there in the second half of this game. What did the Lions do to make him look so good?
I don't think they had enough pressure on him, and he was able to elude some of the pressure and be able to reset and throw some passes down the field. I thought his receivers did a phenomenal job in coming up with some tough catches. It wasn't like the coverage was relaxed too much with the Lions. But, with Trubisky, it's surprising. This was a quarterback they were trying to run out of Chicago, given his past performance over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Really, no one had any confidence in him. And he came in here, had a high completion percentage. He threw the ball well. He threw the ball often, and the Lions had no answer for it.
Yeah, they certainly didn't. Mitchell Trubisky also looked really good in that game a couple of weeks ago in Chicago between the Lions and the Bears. We mentioned a couple of similarities between those two games. The quarterbacks coming in fresh for their first game, Jeff Driscoll in that game in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. This game, of course, David Blau, and then just a few drives where the Lions give up big plays and give up scores, and that's the swing in this game. Chicago came out with a touchdown drive on the first drive of the game. Kind of felt like it set the momentum, but the Lions answered back with 2 straight scores. But, you know, that's one of those moments where you look back and you say if the Lions had been able to stop them early, might not be in the position they're in now either.
Combine all of that, stopping them early, but also capitalizing on some of those miscues. I felt that they had some opportunities when they were able to draw Chicago offside, and there was opportunity to have bigger plays after that. The Lions weren't able to capitalize on that. There were some late penalties that, if you look at the last drive, this was a team that it looked like it was a dreary situation, and they were able to come down with quite a bit of time left right at the end. But we talked about, if you get a guy like Stafford, how does he handle that? How does the team respond versus you having a young new quarterback that's in there, and it's like, you know, what do you go, how do you make this guy turn the corner on a hat? And that just wasn't going to happen today.
Well, you mentioned penalties. Penalties were an issue in that first drive of the game. It was the reason why they had to replay the opening kickoff. And then, of course, the Bears come out and get a really good field position off of the redo on the kickoff, which sets up that opening score. That is one of many special teams gaffes that we have seen this season from the Lions.
It has been times where I thought the special teams unit would be one of the strong points, and they have been. I mean, you look at Matt Prater, he's really come on strong. He's been very, very consistent. I had one miss last week, but you know what? He's been dynamic. He's been outstanding pretty much throughout the year. Sam Martin, they're doing well with their return and their coverage, but you want to see where else can they get that little bit of difference that can help this team. They're not good enough to be at the top of the food chain in the NFC or in their own division. So they have to look for those little intangible pieces and those little small pieces that make a difference. It's the penalties. It's capitalizing on turnovers. It's field position. It's getting other teams off the field. And how do you kind of keep them from, you know, taking advantage of your defense like we've seen? And this team just seems to have too many problems that can get resolved in 1 week. It's not going to happen. So we got to figure out now, as when you look at the Lions, where do they go from here? How do you finish strong? There's going to be a lot of bickering. There's going to be a lot that's going to start to take place. I'm going to tell you now that this team needs to be very looking out for.
Well, the Lions just have a month left of football now in this season. Herman, where do they go from here?
Back to the drawing board. You go back to practice. You look at how do you, one, finish the season strong. There's not a whole lot you can salvage other than playing it out. There's not anything they're going to play for in terms of if you don't go to the playoffs, if you don't go to the postseason and have an opportunity for championships, it really isn't. There's nothing else there to win other than right now the character of this football team. Will they finish strong? Will they do everything that Coach Patricia is needing them to do to show that they're professional? And then at the end of the day, will they take this adversity and turn it into a positive?
Herman, you've played in this Thanksgiving Day Classic. What is it like to walk away from this game on this national holiday, on this national stage, with the loss?
Well, the food doesn't taste the same.
I bet.
When you get home, it's a little bit down. Many of these guys are going to have a lot of family that are going to be here from out of town. Just trying to figure out how do you keep your mood up when you know as a player it's very disappointing. And you have to go in and you have to try and figure out how do you blend, how do you make this still a fun affair for all those that have traveled from out of town or near. So this is unfortunate for this team because this is such a big tradition for not only the Detroit Lions but for the NFL and for these guys. You know, I'm going to go home and eat well. Still, I'm going to have a little alumni blues, but at the same time, I'm still going to go back and look back at this and say this was a game I felt that the Lions still could have won.
Certainly. I mean, you look at how the game ended out with the Lions having the ball, driving down the field in the final minute of the game, the heartbreaking interception. But like we've said, it is really tough to put all of that on a rookie quarterback's shoulders, no matter how dynamic and magical, to use a word we used earlier, that he was early in the game. It is just a tough position to put Blau in, and that comes down to other players on the team and what the defense did to put him in that position.
Again, I felt this team was competitive. Blau, I have nothing but good reviews for him. I don't know if I could have gotten more out of him as a fan, a spectator, alum, or a coach. And as a teammate, these guys should be very proud of the fact that he's someone I think can step in and, with given a few more weeks, I know there's not a lot left in this season, can come in and make some contributions. They have a good cast of guys around them. I think we want to look and see. I saw where T.J. Hawkinson was taken off near the end. See where that heads and see if there's any issues there. But tough loss. Been a tough season for this Detroit Lions team. And for Coach Patricia and he and his coaches, they're going to have to figure out, it's not about going to the drawing board as much as it is how do you finish and finish strong.
Well, just 4 games left in this season. The Lions are in a tough spot, not only losing on Thanksgiving and how much that hurts with it being the holiday and this national TV game that really belongs to the Lions. It's tough to lose that game, but it's also tough to be at this point in the season where you're just past Thanksgiving. You still have 4 games ahead of you, and you are not in a playoff race, and you really have struggled all season long. Well, what do the Lions do? We will take a look at that. Here's what David Blau has to say.
David, how'd you think about the way it started, the game for those 2 quick touchdown passes?
I think going into it, I felt comfortable and prepared, and we had a great plan. On the short week even, we had a great plan to go into the game and take our shots. We were hoping they would think a guy like me come in and throw some check downs, and so we were gonna throw it around a little bit, and credit that to Bevel. You saw how open Kenny was. They made great plays. So I think that's where a lot of the credit belongs in the quick start for us.
When did you think you might start, and when did you know it would start?
Well, we knew Jeff was pretty banged up, but it wasn't until last night that I was told I was a starter, and the Lions announced it and all those things. And I had been getting a lot of the reps in the walkthroughs and practices leading up to this week, and I was ready to go, prepare every week to play on the field, and just so happened that it was done on a short week, and Matthew's been out, all that stuff. So just a couple different twists and turns, but they told me last night, and I was pretty excited.
I know you guys typically want to wait to see the film before you make an evaluation on your performance, but how do you think you played coming out?
There's always some, I think, as a guy who wants more and stand up here after a loss that you wish you had back, especially there late. Some good, obviously, but go back and watch the tape, like you said, and learn and keep moving on and improving. Yeah, they told me, we always come back for the meetings, told me right before the team meeting, the squad meeting. So that was Bob and Coach Patricia. They sat me down and made sure I was ready to go, and it's pretty exciting.
What range of emotions you kind of went through today when taking that first level snap on Thanksgiving and then obviously the loss?
Yeah, this is what you dream about as a kid. I'm thankful for it all the ups and downs, and I knew there were going to be some. I wasn't going to be perfect, and I wanted to give everything that I had, and the guys lifted me up, man. It was incredible to have the veterans, to have Amendola, the guys just come around me and hey, we got your back. And that was encouraging for me as a guy who's just been here 10 or 11 weeks or whatever it is, that to know I had those guys in my corner, and that was special.
You had the 2 early touchdowns and then a dry spell there, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
4 punts and 5 drives, whatever it was. Did they do something to adjust to you, or was it a lack of execution? What was the difference early to later?
Yeah, I think you can put it on lack of execution, some missed checks in the run game by me, just some drives that stalled out on some close bang plays that fortunately we didn't make all day long. And I think it shows you kind of the story of our offense for the whole season. We've been explosive and had a lot of success against a lot of great teams, no matter who the quarterback is. And sometimes we struggle shooting ourselves in the foot. We have some penalties. We struggle with that. So I think, although we struggled there, I think we picked it up and helped our defense out in that third quarter, and had that long drive after we put them on the field quite a bit to start the third.
Anything about the first drive that you started with, that first pass to Hawkinson comes in quite a bit short. And then just air it out for 75 yards. Well, what happened in that first play? Was it just a missed throw?
Yeah, just a low ball. Safety was a little low, but just a low ball. Didn't come out pretty. He ran a good route and was open, and I just missed him. And then, Bev did a good job dialing it up on the next one.
Was it nerves? It was confident. I mean, how do you get in there your first throw like that and then come back?
I'm a pretty confident guy. I know I can make all the throws. I know my coaches and teammates believe I can make all the throws, and so sometimes it happens. It really does, and I think it shows something when you can bounce back and hit the next one. So,
what did you think when you saw Galladay that open?
We knew it based on film, based on our last games. We've been running that concept a lot, and Darryl Bevel had a great idea to kind of pump it against the coverage that we expected to get, and sometimes the stars just align, and he's 10 yards open, and you can throw a lollipop to him, and he can score.
Did anything about today surprise you at all? Because you've never been in this situation.
I don't know. I mean, I've been playing football my whole life, and I think one of the coolest things, honestly, was the amount of support I had. When everybody found out last night, it was just, I had to turn my phone off because there were guys, family, friends, everybody, teammates from the past, saying they believed in me and that, and then the guys on the sideline, Matthew, Jeff, being able to be there and encourage me and support me. Not that I didn't expect it, but they had my back. Everybody did, so that was special.
It seemed like Matthew was coaching you a decent amount between drives. What was the
I think since day one, since I've got here, I've tried to be his shadow as best I can and just pick his brain as well as I can, because I think, the city of Detroit appreciates it, but when you can emulate that guy on and off the field, you're going to be better for it. And so when Matthew offers something to me, I'm going to take it hands down.
Our last one, Chicago's coach, Matt Nagy, came back and shook your hand, had some words for you after the game. Just wondering if you could share what he said to you.
Yeah, he was just, proud of the way I played and said it was impressive. And so it was cool, to talk to Mitch and Chase and all those guys, and just, the quarterback community is a small one, so to have their support, that was cool too.
All right, thanks guys.
Would you rather sling in or go to a party? For Pepper, the dog. Oh no! Rabies outbreak! Better get home right away. Rabies? And Sling.
Get the #1 live TV streaming service for less at Sling.com.
Welcome back to Lions Postgame Live, presented by Sling TV. I'm Tori Petry, joined by Lions legend Herman Moore. You just heard from rookie quarterback David Blau at the podium talking about his game today, his NFL debut. Herman, we were talking about this over the break. The Lions have obviously had a very disappointing season, only 3 wins so far, 4 games left to play. Why do you think they ended up in this position that they are in right now?
There's just been a multitude of problems that have occurred. This was a team that was supposed to have a revamped defensive side of the ball, especially the defensive line. Got off to a slow start this season. And then all of a sudden you had a few injuries in the secondary that slowed them a little bit, and then that complicated that problem. Offensively, they were having struggles. They were having different periods of time during the season where they would hit these spurts and they were doing well offensively, and then they have these dull moments where they weren't putting up any points. You start to combine all of those elements, and now we fast forward to the last half of this part of the season, and now there's been injuries in very key positions. Like, you start talking about your starting quarterback, your franchise guy, and all of a sudden this team now finds itself not only playing from behind after the first tie game of the season, to just been a struggle and an uphill battle since then. And it's unfortunate because I think they're better than their record indicates.
Yeah, I would agree that this team has the talent to be better than their record indicates, but they just have not been able to close out games, and that has been the consistent pattern that we have seen from them. They've talked about lacking consistency, and it really hasn't been one common issue all season long. There were games where the offense just wasn't doing their part. There were games where the defense has not done their part. So it's been very confusing choosing to pin down one exact issue. There's been inconsistency across the board. Early in the season, it was they weren't stopping the run. Now they've done a better job of stopping the run, but we still haven't seen that pressure on the passer that they need. But there still are 4 games left to play, still 4 opportunities in front of them. What would you expect from this team if they were your teammates, if they were your team in these last 4 games?
I would actually go out and not take a lot of chances. And when I say chances, I mean try some things that you haven't done. I wouldn't necessarily I like the fact that they did the onside kick. I like the fact that maybe you're going to take deeper shots down the field. You're going to also come up with some different types of packages on your defensive side to put pressure on the quarterback, even if it exposes your secondary. I think this is a time where you say, let's take advantage of these real-time game situations. And it's not that you're giving up on the season or you're playing for the draft position, but as much as you're going out and you're saying, you know what, why not? And I think that will give some morale to this team. Otherwise, if you just go back in and you just go again by the book and you just try and play it, not conservative, but, it's just kind of streamline a little bit, I just think the team's not going to respond. They have some really tough games coming up, but I look at the Cincinnati game and I go, that's going to be a pressure game for this team. How will this team respond? You want to see them dominate teams that are in the hole like that, but if they struggle against that, that would be a big one.
I'll stop you right there. Coach Patricia is at the podium. Let's hear what he has to say.
Okay. Obviously, I think everyone's disappointed, but I'll say this. I think that team, our team, it's one of the toughest teams I've probably ever been around. This team fights like probably no other team I've ever seen. We got to find a way to win. We got to find a way to kind of break through that thing that's stopping us right now and smash that so we can get this thing going. But you want to talk about a tough team. You want to talk about a team that fights. You want to talk about a team that's going to try to do everything they can to win. That's what we got right now. Obviously, the goal is to win, and that's what we got to get. We got to get done, and we will. We're building towards that, and we're working towards that every single day. But I think when you take a look at today's picture and see us go out there with our third-string quarterback that we got after training camp and watch that team fight and rally behind somebody like that, I think you can tell how much all those men in that room care about each other, how hard they work for each other, how much they're trying to win for each other. And, they don't really ever stop or they don't ever give up. So proud of those guys for that. Obviously, from my standpoint, I always want to do more. I want to help those guys win. I got to do more. I got to, just keep pushing that so that we can, we can break that thing that's stopping us right now and get going. And once that happens, I feel really good that, we'll be there. But we got a lot of good players out there. We got a lot of good veterans. We got a lot of good young players that are getting a lot of playing time right now that are improving. And, we'll go back to work. I've said it all the time. You don't sign up for one. You don't sign up for two. You don't sign up for 4 of these games. You sign up for all of them. So we're going to go out and we're going to compete for all of them. We're going to work and we're going to grind it away. Appreciative of the fans, their support today. Obviously, very thankful, for first, my family, the Ford family, this organization, this city, and, all the support that we get. So I think that's important for us to, remember, obviously today on Thanksgiving, just to be grateful for all that we have. So it's really it. Obviously we're all disappointed about the game that we didn't win, but I am proud of those guys.
Now, you referenced something you need to smash through. I mean, the overall script has felt similar. A lot of these losses and losing it late. Yep. Do you have any sense of what that thing is that hold you guys back?
I mean, I think a lot of it is, it's obviously the tangible things are the mistakes, in the game that we've got to eliminate. The situations where we've got to be able to, just push through and make a couple more plays or coach a couple things better and get that cleaned up. But, in the end, I think it's just that situation where we get one of those and that happens and the confidence that comes with it and all of that takes off. Been around a lot of teams, been around a lot of great teams, and I certainly know in all those teams there's usually something that helps kind of break that and build the confidence, and we just haven't really had it yet, and then we're still pushing to get it.
Just looking at your eyes, it seems like a pretty emotional game, emotionally drained game for you right
now.
I don't know if I'm reading that right, but can you just explain why this is maybe it's what you just referenced to?
Yeah, all the games for me are emotional. We put a lot into this, especially on a short week. Probably just grinding away, trying to do everything we can to keep it as normal from a game plan standpoint. So other than that, I mean, obviously I just, we hurt as a team, the players hurt, the coaches hurt, because we all just want to win and we want to do it for each other. So it's an emotional game. That's why I love it. That's why I tell those guys I love them, because, when you're playing football and you're putting everything on the line every single week, every single day to get better, that's the greatest part of this game is knowing that you're in that situation with guys that care just as much as you do and hurt just as much as you do. And, that's why we love each other, and that's why we do it. So, yeah, it's emotional, absolutely.
Sort of what you're talking about, feeling good about the effort you had about the results.
Well, I never feel good about the results when we don't win. So it's really two separate things, for me. The result is what it is, and that's what we need to address, and that's what we need to fix. But I can still emotionally feel proud of the players for what they do. They put a lot on the line when they go out on that field, and it's a dangerous sport. It's a violent sport, and it takes special men to do that every single week. So I can always be appreciative of them for that.
Wow, short week for him. Just what you think of his performance this year? You guys stepping in there and making scores.
Yeah, I think you guys obviously got a glimpse of him and just what we've all seen every single day. His confidence, his ability to go out and compete, and his focus and how much he loves this game and what he does. So never really any question from that standpoint. I knew it was going to be exciting for him, exciting for us from that standpoint. And he's a football player. Just goes out and plays ball and works really hard at it, and is really really works diligently to prepare himself. And he's been doing that all year, just like Jeff did, before when Matthew was playing. So that's why I said before, I think maybe I talked about it maybe a couple weeks ago about that room and how hard that room prepares regardless of, who's going out and playing. And I think you saw that evident out in the field today.
On Chicago's game-winning drive,
yeah,
the long reception on the sideline.
Yep.
Looked like he was really bobbling it as his body coming in on the sideline.
Yeah.
You had a lot of time to think about that with the delay game. Is there a reason you didn't challenge
Yeah.
given the time?
We were trying to look at all the different angles. I actually was looking at the push off. That was kind of the first thing that I saw, because Justin was really right on him, and then all of a sudden the separation came. And, I look at that as, because I'm obviously, on one side of it, but I look at that as extension or just kind of a little bit of motion. But they're really hard to see. They're hard to, so I was just trying to see if that was part of it. And then the bobble, we saw that going through, couldn't get a real clean look of it. So, look, those guys on the field, the officials, they do a great job. They work really hard, and they see it. And so in that moment, we just, we had to go with the calls.
Did everything about Blount do today actually surprise you? Because you can see it in practice, so it's like you didn't see anything in a preseason game.
Sure. No, but I mean, you see college tape and the things that he did. He had some pretty big games in college and stuff. So, no, that's the thing. Like, none of that really surprised me today. No.
One more, on your last field goal drive.
Yeah.
That third one play.
Yeah.
You guys ran McKissick there.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yep.
Just why McKissick?
Yeah. Well, there was a penalty to play before that, right? So there was a situation where we were trying to figure out exactly what the third down and distance was. So we had the personnel out because the clock was running. They were trying to figure out the spot and everything like that. So once we got all that organized and saw what it was, we just, we didn't want to sub late. And we have a lot of confidence in JD. He runs hard. He's got a great skill set, and it puts the defense in a little bit of a bind as far as what exactly are we going to do with him on the field as opposed to Bo, in that situation. So. Honestly, guy made a great play. I thought he was out. I thought he was going to go, but that's really what happened on that play. It was just the clock was moving. We were waiting for them to get it spotted, and then made the decision once we had it out there. It was like we had a good personnel group out there. Let's go. Yeah, we were obviously in a call there, trying to get after the quarterback a little bit, and a little bit of it's really a front side play, what I would call out to the offensive right. That's kind of the primary read. Honestly, Slay and Justin, I think, were the two DBs over there. They did a great job of playing that play. It was really a very specific deal, and then that's a late leak coming out of the backside that the quarterback found late, and we got to get on it.
Did you give thought to the fourth down in either one of the situations where you had the short field goal attempts?
Yeah, we definitely go through all those scenarios and the situations, and kind of, some of those, one of the drives, I think it was a lot of back and forth through the drive as far as, penalties and things that were good and things that were not good. So we was trying to just make sure that we got the points, which we knew was going to be important.
Okay, going back to the decision making on the outside kick.
On the what?
Onside kick.
Well, we're trying to obviously do everything we can to, to win. And they got a great returner. They got a great return game. It's top in the league. They got a great punt return too. So we knew we had two problems special teams wise, that we're going to have to deal with. And they had some really good returns out there, and obviously it's a great player. So just situation trying to get a little bit of a different kick. So.
You talked a lot about having to smash through stuff, get overcome. You're basically almost 2/3 of the way through the season. Why has that not happened? You're talking all about how tough they are.
Sure.
But why then has that not registered?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of like what I answered earlier for Justin. Is kind of you can obviously go back to some of the things that we happen in the game that we've got to do better. Whether it's things that we're doing to hurt ourselves, execution, coaching. It's kind of gone through that, but I think a big part of it too, and I think maybe Tim asked it, was just the at some point we got to get one of those, and we got to get one of those wins and build that confidence and feed off that confidence and go. And that's what a lot of teams do, and that's what the teams that I've been around do, and we haven't had that, they haven't had that moment yet, and we're still trying to search for it and get it. So in the meantime, we're trying to do everything we can to, coach through it, play through it, and execute it until it happens, and we go from there. But, it's really it.
Do you think
Two more questions?
It's too late in the season for that to happen, considering what your goals generally are with that offseason?
My goal is, they're 1 week seasons and we try to win. So, that's what we're going to try to do every single week.
Trubisky had another really good game. That's two pretty good games against you. He's largely struggled this season.
Yeah.
Is that saying something about your defense? And just
I'm trying to remember the first game. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think he threw for
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but I don't know how many yards did he have there. Yeah. Look, he's a good player, right? He makes some good plays and obviously made some great plays against us. So we gotta do better than that, to get off the field. But from that standpoint, guys start a lot of NFL football games for a reason. He goes out and he plays hard, so they rally around him and they do a good job. Give Coach Nagy credit, and they do a great job.
Last question.
How do you spend your weekend? If you have a meeting schedule, this is forward, are you working, are you home, what do you do now?
The football season's rolling, so we gotta, we'll go back to work and do all that. Obviously very blessed and thankful for my family, so I need to spend some time with them, take a little bit and have some dinner or something, but we'll go back to work.
Yeah, earlier in the week we talked about this being a process and an opportunity to build. Have you been given any assurances that you're going to have that opportunity in year 3 to actually build?
Again, for me, it's we're just pushing forward every single step of the way. So, go back to work next week and try to do a good job of building on this week and, try to go win everything we can. We got a big one coming up. Minnesota, obviously, is a big game. So, about it. Okay. All right. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Obviously, Matt Patricia disappointed with the outcome of this traditional Thanksgiving Day game. So was cornerback Darius Slay. He talked with the media just moments ago in the locker room about his pick in this game and how the game turned out. Here's what he had to say.
Has led every game, but has only won 3.
It's rough. Like I said, we keep finding a way. We just got to break down the wall, man. That wall is right there, and it's just not moving. So we just got to find a way to kick the wall down.
Darius, now that you are unfortunately eliminated from the playoffs, how do you stay motivated knowing that the ultimate goal is kind of put behind you now?
Just keep moving forward. Like I got guys that look up to me. I'm kind of much of a leader in the defensive room, so I lead by my example by playing hard, playing every play, go out there and practice hard. Don't care what the situation is. I'm known as a competitor, hard worker. So I got to keep being that for my guys. My guys will do the same thing, and we're going to try to find a way to get better as a unit.
How disappointing is it to know that that's the case for Thanksgiving for you?
It's very disappointing, but the game's over with now. I'm gonna go enjoy my family, eat good, and sit back and watch the later on night game with my family.
You guys talk about stacking wins. I know you have in the past under Matt Patricia, but when you guys are stacking, when losses are piling up like they are, when there's 5 straight and 8 of 9, how does it just kind of change the demeanor of what you guys were hoping for in this season?
Well, I can't talk for everybody else, but my demeanor will always be the same. I go into work every week with a mindset of getting better and finding ways to get my guys better. We just got it, like I said, I'm just trying to go get better every day. That's how we got to look at it now and get ready for whatever's come next.
Does it feel like a lost season, though, when there's been so much losing?
A lost season?
Yeah, just, playoffs, goals that you guys had before the season won't be met.
It's just difficult, you know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, everybody got a goal they want to reach. Everybody want to reach it. Fortunately, this is not the year. Like I said, we just got to find the tools and everything to get right and get going, and figure out how, as a team, figure this out.
You said you still got that 4-3 speed.
Last one, Slay.
Huh?
You feel like people have been
Oh, no. I was just being funny because Abby think he faster than me, so I just let him know he wasn't. Nah. So I was basically ready for Ad because he was close by.
And were you thinking pick six right away? It seemed like you had a lane.
I was going to go pick six, but I'm not going to say his name. Didn't block his guy that came and got me, but it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
Go home and eat.
I'm going to go eat.
Well, despite the Lions' loss, there is still a Thanksgiving holiday to be enjoyed. We are very thankful for you guys joining us here on the show today, spending part of your Thanksgiving with us. We hope you have a wonderful day with family and friends. Eat some turkey, some mashed potatoes. Enjoy the day. As a thank you from our sponsor, Sling TV, they are offering you 40% off your first month of Sling TV if you go to sling.com/Lions. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and happy Thanksgiving. For DetroitLions.com, I'm Tori Petry.
Would you rather sling in or go to a party? For Pepper, the dog. Who's ready to party? Perfect. Oh no, rabies outbreak. Better get home right away. Rabies? And sling. My man Leroy, top-notch acting.
Nothing beats the joy of slinging in. You could save hundreds a year versus cable with America's #1 live TV streaming service. Learn more at sling.com.